that you are adapting to those traditional resources, and that can be available in the database so that the user can access the resources. For example, Subhash Chandra Bose, all the important documents of Subhash Chandra Bose are now available in the National Archives, Delhi. If you access to the National Archives, Delhi, you will find lot of resources there on Subhash Chandra Bose. So the digital library requires technology to link the resources of many, not only one or two, even your YouTube, even your children literature, and also the audio, like this, everything will be there. The linkages between the many digital libraries and information services are transparent to the end user. Here in digital library, you cannot hide anything. You cannot keep it in a, to say, you cannot say or unnoticed by the user. It will be available, it will be visible to each and everybody, the user and also the creator. However, the manager, the librarian, or the system administrator, they are having their own, to say, restriction. You cannot change anything. It is only one to one end. You have to read it only. You have to copy it. You can save it, everything. But you cannot alter anything in the digital library. That access is not being provided by the administrator to the users. So universal access to digital library and information services is the motto behind this digital library services. The digital library collections are not limited to document surrogates, they extend to digital artifacts that can be represented or distributed in a printed form. If you want to download it, you can download it and take a print. Means you are to take the to say traditional document. Again, you are coming back to the traditional document. So I can say that conversion document, bond digital and conversion digital. There are two type of digital. First one, directly when you do the work in the computer and without taking the help any traditional mechanism, then through the computer you can transfer the resources to your, to say, to your authority digitally, electronically, so that all the works will be done digitally. For example, whenever you are going for the research, nowadays you might be knowing that our Honorable Prime Minister, he insisted for the digital India. This is also a part of digital India. So no human intervention will be there, and due to COVID, it has been more prominent to work on the digital platform. So no traditional document will be required. Everything will be there on the computer. But the thing is that you have to be aware of the technology. You have to know the technology, because there are many softwares which are not equal to each other. They are having different type of softwares, and you have to know about the software, how to work on the software. So different type of softwares are having different type of characteristics, different type of features that you have to know about those things. And whenever you are, when we'll be talking about the library, you can go for, there are many softwares available for the library. Freely it is available, and also priced based digital library softwares are there. So digital library, as you know very well, we need it due to the availability of the abundant literature in both traditional and e-form, especially on the internet domain. Whenever you are opening the internet or searching anything on Google and searching a particular keyword, then you are getting hundreds and thousands of literature. Now, it's very difficult on your part to choose the right literature, because you know very well that internet is an open domain. Nobody has got any type of control over the posting any type of information. So you have to be very careful whenever you are going to download the information, because nowadays internet has become such a platform that everybody is not a good person. There are many type of persons who are also waiting for your internet, and they will hack your computer, they will hack your password, they will hack your bank account. So many problems are there in the internet, but you have to be very careful enough when you are going to access and to which site you are going to access and download the resources. I'm telling you, whenever you are downloading the resources also, you may not know whether you are downloading the virus also for your computer. So if you are having the antivirus program in your computer, that will check you downloading this thing, and immediately message will come that it's not a safe site. The safe side, how you are going to know very well, you can see when in each and every site you can know that whenever a document is being posted, it is one HTTP will be there, means hypertext transfer protocol will be there. And when you find the word S, HTTPS, then you should know that it is a safe site, it is a secure site. And you will find a light green will be there, HTTPS will be there, and you can safely download the softwares, because nowadays many softwares are available free of cost. And don't think that all the softwares are free from virus. You cannot say it. Therefore, you should be very careful whenever you are downloading the resources. And it's more due to the shrinking budget allocation in the libraries. Nowadays, you can see that before COVID-19 also, there was a lot of problem in the budget allocation in the library. Nobody accepting the central libraries, they are providing adequate finance to the library. Therefore, within this scanty amount, the librarian was managing the library it was a very tough job for the librarian to manage the resources, because you cannot stop the demand. The demand will come from the users, and they will be waiting for the resources only. They are least bothered from where you are getting the money. Therefore, you have to manage the fund in such a way that you have to satisfy each and everybody as far as practicable. And especially after COVID-19, it has come again down. It has been synced in such a way that now the governments, both central and state, and the management authorities are telling that you manage the library in a digital way. Means the librarian and the technical staff will be there who are conversant with the technology, who are conversant with the computer. Only by getting the, to say, your degree or library science degree, it doesn't mean that you are aware of the digital library. You have to know about the technology. The cost crisis affecting the present library services. You should know that whenever any intellectual materials are coming, very important things are coming on the web, it is not free. And a library is a domain. Library is a platform where everybody wants each and every type of resources. But the cost factor will stimulate it. The cost factor will be very important, and you cannot procure, you cannot purchase those, I'm to say, the resources. The prevailing of the computer-based libraries over the decades. Nowadays, from very beginning, you will see that each and every libraries are now adapting the means of computer, using the computer in the library so that they can provide these services. You must be knowing, you must be working somewhere, I don't know actually. So whenever your principal or your authority will say, they will first tell you whether you know the computer. Whenever you are having a computer managed with one computer, and you are to show your ability, show your skill, how best you can get the resources for the users community, who is the target audience to whom you are providing these services. That is very important. Whether those are the research scholars, whether those are the faculties, whether they are the students, whether they are the community, whether they are the society, persons in the society, who are the target audience to whom you are going to provide the services. And accordingly, you have to manage the resources, you have to download the resources, and you have to provide the services using their smartphones or any other means. So constraint of scientific management of the traditional collection due to meager institutional budget. As I just told you, each and every institution doesn't have adequate money. You should not feel that adequate money is there in our institution and they will give the library adequate finance. No, that is not possible also, because the institutional money will be diverted for different type of work, and library is one of the station, and accordingly they may give you some portion of the budget, but maximum budget, you have to use the budget in such a way that maximum, I'm to say, the users will get the benefit. Breaking down of current scholarly publishing system. Nowadays, if you are quite aware, I mean to say, you must be aware of one thing, that everybody is now giving the scope to open access journal, open access resources, open educational resources, and you have to know the source and you have to download those resources for the benefit free of cost. Only internet will be required and one computer will be required to download all the resources. But you can, using the social networking site, you can provide the services, the link, the resources, full text resources through their mobiles. So nowadays, mobile learning has become a very viable platform among the students, among the research scholars, to know more and more about a subject. The increasing cost of publishing scholarly journal. When you are going to purchase any traditional journal, it will cost you too much. You cannot pay. For example, international journal, whenever you are subscribing the international journal as one institution, then you have to pay thousands and thousands of rupees for 5 or 10 journals. But when you are becoming a member of any consortia, then you are getting multiple access, you having with a very least amount. So changing information needs of the users due to interdisciplinary research. Nowadays, if you insist on the research side, if you see the research side, it is not a monolithic research. It is not a discipline-oriented research. I can say there are many type of researchers which are going interdisciplinary, means two disciplines are going to get the benefit from your research output. For example, if you are going for the research, if you are a student of statistics, and another person is there from library information science, and if he wants to go for a research in both statistics and library science, then he should opt a topic like this: statistics, okay, centrometrics, informatics. Means one part will be from the library science, one part will be from the statistics. So this type of things are known as interdisciplinary research. Now, talking about the components of the digital library. What are the components? First one is your collection infrastructure, then digital resource organization, access infrastructure, computer and network infrastructure, IPR and DRM, and digital library services. Here you can see you are coming across with one IPR and DRM, means intellectual property right and this thing, digital rights management. These are very, very important things among all the collection infrastructure. And I have told you that you have to collect the I'm to say infrastructure. What do you exactly require for your library? How many computers? How many printers? How many LAN connectivity? How many WAN connectivity? what the type of the wire you require, cable you require, who will be your target audience, to whom you are going to provide the services. Like this, you have to think in that way, and you have to develop the infrastructure. Then, if you are unable to do the metadata by yourself, the resources of the library, then automatically the computer will take care of the thing, and metadata will be available for your resources. That option is there whenever you are using the digital library software. Then the resources will automatically convert all the resources to metadata. Metadata means data about data. One data you are giving an input, another data the computer will create. It means the creation of the computer will be through 0 and 1 only. So all the data will be converted to 0 and 1, and accordingly the metadata will be created, and metadata will be again converted to the data where the user can access through their mobile phones, through their computer, through their laptop, the original data. Then digital objects. You have to convert the resources to the digital objects. Means when a picture is there, when a diagram is there, you have to convert it to the digital objects. How you are going to convert, that is a different mechanism where you can get it scanned, and you can create a PDF for those resources, and you can upload it. It provides a bibliographic or index information for the digital objects, the metadata. Let us suppose you are having one or two or 100 or 200 thousands. In that way, if you are going on growing the metadata, then each and every metadata should have the bibliographic collection. You should definitely, when our library is going to provide the services, the library, I'm to say, the library personnel must be knowing about the source from where they are downloading the resources, and what is the bibliographic information. Means the document from which you have downloaded the resources, and accordingly you have to prepare an index. Index is a mirror of all your works, so that instead of giving the full resources to the user, the index, if you want to give an index to the user, then he can just give a click and he can download the resources. So digital objects are the primary documents. So you are having the authority to change anything, but the readers don't have the authority to change anything, the digital materials. The most important thing is that IPR and digital rights management, means intellectual property right. You know very well that copyright and IP are most important in the digital platform. Means nowadays, for example, I'm telling you, if some assignment is being given to you, you can just go to Google and search it, and it's coming either from the eGencourse or any of the source. Then just you are copying it and pasting it. For example, then you are violating the copyright, because the materials are there. Definitely it will help you to know about the resources. You have to know about the subject. It's not that directly you can copy it and paste it. So it will prevent, copyright prevents those things. You can use it, you can know it, and you can use your own language to reproduce it, so that you will be, I'm to say, you will be free from the any copyright. Each and every material, you should know very well, are copyrighted material. It's not open. Even if it is open, I'm telling you, open educational resources, and you are using the resources of any of the author in the world, then you have to acknowledge. But it again, I'm telling you, doesn't mean that you can just directly copy and paste it. You can use it, you can take the sense, you can reproduce it in your own language, and because you have inherited some idea from the author, you have to acknowledge the author. Digital rights management is very, very important, because the administrator used to keep a track on this thing. So that right will not be distributed to anybody. The librarian or the administrator are having the right to control over the electronic resources. Otherwise, there will be chaos. Okay. So like this, whenever you are prepared for this thing, and if you are quite, and another very important thing, that you have to maintain this standard. You cannot do it by yourself. You have to maintain this standard, and that standard should be internationally accepted standard. So Mark 21 and other things are there which will guide you to make a standard, and you have to prepare the digital resources of your library. So development of digital library collection, how it could be, just I was telling you, there are three ways how you can make it. One, digital resources, buying access to external digital collection, and converting of existing print media into the digital format, which is otherwise known as digitization. So born digital, here the digital photographs, whenever you are taking a photograph of any scene, scenario of your friends or any document, or you are scanning it, directly you are making it in the computer. And if you can design it in the computer, then directly you are transferring the photographs or the documents to your friend. And here human intervention is less. Only the techniques will be applied, only the skill will be applied. Here the traditional paper documents will not be required. You require the internet connectivity, you require the software rather to make it according to your own choice. So you can see that born digital resources, digital photographs or documents harvested with contents, manuscripts, electronic records, many things are there in the born digital resources. Now, another important thing, buying access to external digital collections means if you are buying the full database, full text database like Jester, Emerald, JGate, EBSCO, then this includes actually the subscription price. Again, I'm telling you, everybody, CSIR, then UGC Infonet, then Enlist, DAE consortium, many consortiums are there, IIM libraries are there, IIT libraries are there, Forza consortium are there, where you have to be a member, and for that membership you have to pay very less amount. But by paying the less amount, you are getting hundreds and thousands of electronic resources. But again, I'm telling you, you have to be a member of those consortia looking at your target audience to whom you are going to provide these services. Whether if it is a research oriented organization, then you can subscribe to those consortium. You can be a member of those consortia, and you can take the benefit of the electronic resources. That is called buying access to external digital collection. Then another very important thing, converting. Just I was telling you that whenever any traditional document is there, very old document is there, like Ramayana, Mahabharata, this and that will be there. Then if you want to provide it in a digital way, then you have to convert it first to a digital platform. You have to, first you have to convert it in a digital way, then you can save it in your database and give a link to the users community, and they can access the material. They will not access the original material, but they can access the digitized material. So it is a digitization process that involves three main steps. First, you have to select what documents you are going to digitize, because there may be hundreds and thousands of documents. So you have to select to whom you are going to provide the services, what is their users need, what is their demand. Taking the demand into account, you have to select the resources. Then you can convert, make the conversion process by using the technology, by using the scanning, because very big scanning machines are there. And finally, you are going to provide the services, and you are going to preserve it for the future generation. So there are actually 5 stages in developing a digital library. First stage is collection of information. Second, description of data. Third one, configuration the collection. Fourth one, building the collection. And fifth one, view the collection. View the collection. So therefore, you have to collect. Whenever you are collecting the information, you don't know. Whenever you are coming across with any paper, newspaper, you must be coming across with many type of news, political, sports, then your economics and commerce. So many news are there. So which is very important for you? You have to select those things. First, you have to collect it. Then you have to describe it. Then according to your requirement, you have to select those materials. Then you have to give a link to each and every collection. Then finally you are developing in the database, and after developing the database, you have to give the link to the database by creating the index. That is the fifth stage. So digital library has got 3-tier framework for system management. First one, digital library. It's a possible virtual organization that comprehensively collects, manages, and reserves for the long-term rich digital content and efforts and offer to the users community specialized functionalities on that content of measurable uh, quality and according to the codified policy. It means you have to maintain the standard. You cannot do it by yourself. You cannot take your own decision. You have to adopt the international standard, and you have to create the digital library platform. So what is digital library system? You have to take the help of the software. You cannot develop the software by itself, because developing a software requires so many techniques. It's the duty of the technician, it is the duty of the engineers to develop the software. We are the end users. You should know we are only the functional part. We are taking the best benefit of the software. We cannot create a software. We are not so much matured enough to create a digital library software. However, there are many softwares available free of cost. Openly it is available to start a digital library in your I'm to say in your college or in the university or in any of the organization. So that is very important, and many softwares are there. To be very frank, I'm telling you, CDSIS, Computerized Documentation Service, integrated sets of information system, is the first library software, which is a menu-driven software, and it was delivered by the UNESCO, United Nations Educational Scientific Organization, free of cost. And subsequently, that menu-driven software came to a mouse, I'm to say, the click. Under a click, I'm to say, through the click, you can take the help of that software. You can make use of those software. Now, subsequently, in the subsequent pages, many priced-based software came to the market. And for example, your Ellipsis library system. Even if I'm telling you the InfluBNet, it has developed the software, SOL, software for university library. And it is also not free, I'm telling you, it is a price-based, but on request to the InfluBNet, you can get the software, trial version software for your digital library to make your digital library function. So there are other software, internationally reputed softwares are there. For example, DSpace. DSpace is a software. Then also Koha. Koha is a digital library software, openly, freely accessible, but there you have to know the technique. You have to be aware of the technique to use those softwares, because different type of platforms are there on which it runs actually. So digital library system, it is a software system based on a defined architecture and provides all the functionalities requirement of a digital library. So digital library management system, DLMS, it belongs to a class of system. How many system you are integrating, how many system you are integrating in one system so that all the benefits, all the works can be performed. So this I'm telling you, digital resource, it's also in your book anyway. It is a nowadays we are taking the help of the pool technology. We are pulling the users community to our domain because you cannot force a user to come to your library. So you have to make such a mechanism how you are going to pull him, how you are going to drag him to use your library. So digital resources are the prime important things that will be provided to the users. But what mechanism you are going to apply with regard to digital resources so that the users can make use of your library. So here the most important thing is that you have to know, you have to be aware of the technology. As I told you, you have to know, you should know how to create a website. Minimum very small website by your in your own way. You can create it as a demonstrating point of view in your computer. We can create it, but don't host it in the web. So unless you are satisfied that you are providing a very good services, you are able to create a web platform, don't take it or host in the web. So in that way, you can take the help of the organization to make use of their website and provide these services. Nowadays, even if you are working in the college, I'm telling you, each and every college almost is having a website. So in the website, the library will be there. When somebody will give a click to the library should provide the useful information to the users community. Know your library, what are the resources available in the library, how many users are in the library, what are the type of infrastructure available in the library, what type of help you can get in the library, who are the persons to whom you can contact in the library with their email, phone number, WhatsApp number, because so many platforms are nowadays available and each and every organization needs to be elaborately available to the users community in their website so that in a transparent way you can function the library. So from this figure, you can see that digital resources are the prime important thing. Collection is there, access is there, computing and network infrastructure is there. Digital resource organization means standard protocol, access control, who will be accessing your resources, and what type of guidelines you are providing to the users. Everything should be there, should be elaborately discussed in your information browser, which will be available in the website. And rest of the things, modified web-based library services, OPEC. Now, as I told you, whenever you are going to provide the library services digitally, means digital library services, your OPEC, online public access catalog, you have to convert it to the web OPEC. Means anybody at the remote corner, a user can know your library collection. Not that he has to come to the library to know what are the resources available in the library. He can by sitting in his own house at any of the place in the world. I'm telling you, whenever you are providing the services, you should know that I am providing the services to the world community. It doesn't matter whether you are at Sambalpur, whether you are at Barampur, or whether you are at Chennai or any part of the world. So from there, you can know that what are the collections of your library. And the library collections, whenever you are having the digital library services, you can just give a click. One click will be there where the users will be redirected to use your electronic resources. For example, you can just go to the Calcutta University site and you can see the library there, and how, what are the type of services, what are the type of electronic resources available. But I'm telling you, the library will let you know about the resources available there. But hardly very few libraries are there who are providing you the full text services. But let me tell you simultaneously that the international publisher during COVID-19, they provided lot of full text, which are very, very costly articles free of cost. And many of the libraries who are the member of those international journals, they have given the link free of cost. And by that time, whosoever contacted me, I have given enough of, I am to say, I have extended their link to each and everybody. Whosoever has given a contact to me, I was forwarding the information to each and everybody, and they are quite happy that they could download it. Hundreds and thousands of electronic resources which are very, very costly, and they don't have to go to the library. Sitting at their own house, they could able to download it. I don't know whether the same COVID-19 facilities are there, which are being given by the users, I mean to say the publisher or not. But you can take the benefit. You can go to those library site and check how they are managing the resources. Okay. Now, these are the some digital library. You please take a note of those things. That New Zealand Digital Library, where you will find lot of electronic resources, the thesis and dissertation. So you can Science Direct. Then IIT Kharagpur, I'm telling you, everybody to access this NDL, National Digital Library, which is there at Kharagpur. Everybody be a member of that thing. The membership is very free, very much free. You don't have to pay anything for it, and you can download. Provided you are having the only Gmail ID, you should have the Gmail ID, and you can access the resources free of cost. I'm telling you, you please access those sites. Yeah, again, I'm telling you, eGyan course. It is a portal for each and every student. You please be a member of that eGyan course and get free electronic resources. Then infolibrarian.com. This is also very much free, and apart from the resources, you can download free of cost hundreds of conference reports, which are very, very important, and you can develop the collection of your library in that way, so that the librarian or the authority will be very happy, and the users can take those benefits of the resources. Okay, then what are the factors responsible for digital library? First one is well informed and computer literate. You are to be computer literate. You should be a technology oriented person. You should know how to operate the software. You should know how to operate the different type of features in the software. And whenever some problems will be there, then there are many podiums through which you can get the help to reduce or to redress your problems. The lack of users concerned about the material, because you must be knowing that whenever you are getting yourself admitted to the CDL course, you are getting the, I mean to say, the study material. In the study material, it is all there, and also you please get the study material more and more from the eGyan course. You can go to the IGNOU site, or the IGNOU study materials are available in the eGyan course site. Okay. Apart from that, also, you can take the help of the social networking site through the blogs. You can download those resources. You can go to the open educational resources. You can download the open access resources. Many podiums are there, many platforms are there, where you can download the resources in your own area, and even for the other, I'm to say, persons, those who are interested. The inappropriate budget in the library, as I told you, that budget is a constant always in the library. The library may not be given adequate finance by the management staff or by the university or by any organization. So with this limited budget, you have to develop the library in such a way that everybody will take the benefit of the resources, and ultimately budget will come to you. That is the way how you can generate your money. How you are to, I am to say, generate the resources for your library. So generating the resources of your library requires a skill. It doesn't require the manpower, it requires the involvement, it requires the dedication. So using the technology and applying your technical skill, you can generate the finance for the library itself. Then the ultimate aim for all those things are there to provide the effective library services. The library must be available to each and every community. I'm telling you, it's not for the persons to whom the students are getting their studies over there. In and around the society also, whenever you are having the college, I'm telling you, many persons will be coming to your college outside, and they will should get their own reading materials. And community service means how that is the external service that you are providing to the community, and that is also one of the duties of the library staff to provide the services. Accessing to wide range of multiple resources, I told you, there is no boundary, there is no constraint. And apart from the electronic resources, you can get back to your hundreds of the sites. Example, I'm telling you, one journal site is there, doaj.com, Directory of Open Access Journal. You can go to that site and you will see that it is arranged subject wise, and you can download those resources for the library. Then it's there for the convenience in access of the digital resources and use of the same for the sustainable teaching, learning, and research. That is another very important area in which the library is going to provide the services. You are not only going to provide the services to the persons who are coming to the library, also you are supplementing something for the learning purpose. You are providing the teachers the resources to be more alert in their own areas, in their own subject, so that they can provide a latest learning system using the technology based learning system. And by that way also you are helping the research scholars who are eager enough to get more and more materials for their study or for their work. So that is very important. So digital reference service, that it is a service provided through the computer involving collaboration between the library user and the librarian. The librarian will be there definitely, who is going to take care of the resources. The library user will be there at the other point, who are just aspiring for getting more and more information or the resources from the library. So whenever the librarian is unable to provide a particular service or particular reading material or resources to the library user, then he can redirect the user to go to other library site. That therefore you have to be aware of the sites of other libraries who are providing you the services. Okay. So after this thing, I will take a break anyway. Services are imparted using various medias, including email, web forms, chat, videos, web customer, call center software, voice over internet protocol, etc. These are the platforms through which you can provide these services. Digital reference service, please go to the internet also, you can download it. Another very important thing I would like to tell you, I will share this PowerPoint to you definitely, but not today. After completion of my class, I will share this PowerPoint, which may help you to prepare for your examination, to know more and more, and to develop your library, to convert your library to the digital library. Okay? The digital library services, reference services, requires computer communication with digital network between the user and the librarian. So the librarian should be very much interactive with the user all the time. He must entertain the user. What is his problem? What is their issue? What does they require it? Like this. In fact, you are to be one of the persons to whom you are coordinating. Then internet-based services that employ human experts and intermediaries to provide the information to the user. You can gather the information on the internet, different sites, and you can accumulate it, you can organize it, you can manage it, and provide to the users community so that they can make best use of the internet, and they can match, I'm to say they can download the resources for their requirement. Okay, so with this, let me just stop it, and again we can continue with these elements of digital reference services in our next class. Okay, Suna Babu. Hello, Dr. Suna.
Yes, sir.
So, as I was telling the participant that, Suna Babu, one thing, just ମୁଁ ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ କହୁଥିଲି ଯେ I will share this PowerPoint, ଏଟା ମୁଁ next class ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇଏ କରିବି, ଆପଣ next class ଗୋଟେ arrange କରନ୍ any day, no problem is there, whether it is a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, any day can be a classroom. Okay, virtual classroom ର କିଛି time ନାହିଁ ଥାଏ ହେଲା, ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବି କହିବେ, ହଁ ମତେ ଖାଲି ଗୋଟେ ଦିନ କାଲି ସ୍ପେୟାର କରିଦେବେ, କାଲି ବହୁତ ବିଜି ଅଛି, ଗୋଟେ କୋଭିଡ କାମ ଅଛି, ଆପଣ ପରଦିନ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବି କହିବେ, ସନ୍ଧ୍ୟା 7, 8, 9 ଯେତେବେଳେ ବି କହିବେ, I am prepared to take. ଆପଣ ଟିକେ ସେଟାକୁ ଅର୍ଗାନାଇଜ କରନ୍ତୁ, ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ଇନଫର୍ମ କରିଦଉ, ତାହେଲେ ଯେତିକିଟା ବି କ୍ଲାସ ହବା, ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ ନୂଆ ନୂଆ ହିସାବରେ କଳାକ ବୋଲେ ବହୁତ ଜିନିଷ ବୁଝାବା ଠିକ ଅଛି।
ठीक अछि सर।
मोर ऑडियोटा
वर्तमान हमरो विद्यार्थी माननको अनुरोध करिब। हां सर, क्लियर, बहुत क्लियर अछि सर। मो
ऑडियोटा क्लियर अछि तो ठीक अछि।
माननको करिबि ले आपण डायरेक्ट साकस प्रश्न रि पादिबे। आमे क्वेश्चन आवर करबा, तापरे हम बंद करबा।
ओके,
आरो जदि किछि प्रश्न थाए हेले माइक को अनम्यूट करंतु, प्रश्नटा सीधा सर को पचरि परबे।
Okay, you can ask if you want to ask any question, you can ask, no problem is there.
आपन वॉइस क्लियर आछि।
हेलो, anything? So please come up with your any question. If somebody wants to put a question, they can ask it. Suna Babu, if anybody wants to ask a question, please ask.
मते लागु सर आपनकर सर 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 से आपको जी जाई छनको मन ई संदेह नहीं।
ओके,
तो आपनकर पावर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन रे जा भी काम विद्यार्थी मान बहुत उपादेय हेतिबो। पचारन तो आपण
Okay, one thing somebody is asking, what is a DRM? DRM is a digital rights management. It means whenever you are creating any digital, I'm to say, resources for your library, the authorities should be vested in you. Who is the person to whom you are going to provide the resources? Who can make a alteration to your resources? Who are the persons who are going to make a standard? Because whenever you are going to have the digital resources and you are preparing for the users community, what type of standards you are going to follow? That is very important, because without standard and without taking the help of the software, you cannot produce it. And how a user can access to those resources, and there are multiple technical factors which are associated with digital rights management, because it is a right to whom you are going to provide. Whether the rights will be vested with the creator, whether it will be vested with the administrator or the user. Definitely not the user. Users are only the access point. They cannot have any management over it. They can put a question on the basis of their requirements. You can change it, you can modify it, you can amend it. That is the thing. But the right will be vested by the creator or the librarian or the authority. So, for example, whenever you are going to give the resources on the institutional repository, and you are converting to the digital repository for access of each and everybody on the web, then those resources must be restricted to the university only. Another very important thing is that you may be the creator. You have created each and everything. Suppose you left the organization, then to whom you will vest the power? So definitely it comes in the name of the principal or the vice chancellor or the administrator or the librarian by designation only. So in that way, the right will be vested with them. And to whom, what type of access you are providing to the user? Are you going to provide them to copy and paste it? Are you going to provide them the full download of your resources? Are you going to provide a content-based to say abstract only? What type of facilities you are providing to the resources? That should be codified very much clearly in your manifesto. So that is the thing. Because, for example, I'm telling you, suppose I want to know about the annual report of Odisha State Open University. Then I can go to the site, and the site will allow me to download the resources. I can download the resources and I can use the resources for the research purpose. Okay. So in that way, there are some materials, for example, Mahatma Gandhi's, I'm to say some words of Mahatma Gandhi. You can download it, but you should not have the right to make any manipulation in its wording. So therefore, that will come under the conversion digital, and conversion digital nowadays should not have any mechanism to alter the sense. So that is very important. But there are many technologies nowadays which you can also modify each and everything. So that is the violation of the copyright. Each and every digital resources are copyrighted materials, and copyright is an international right. Please understand this thing. It is an international right. It is not a private right. You cannot privatize it. But let us suppose I have written one article. The article is there till with me. Unless I share it to the public, I'll not allow them to just copy it and paste it. Whenever somebody is using my materials, they have to acknowledge me. The copyright materials are there definitely for the use, but as per the government norms, after 65, you can see the copyright guidelines. It is there in Government of India 2012 when our Parliament passed the copyright. And the copyright is also, it will be controlled by the World Intellectual Property Right Organization, WIPO. You please go to the site WIPO and you can know more about the copyright. What are the constraints, what are the problems, what are the issues there in the copyright? And to what extent you can use the materials. So that is all there. It's a very, very big area. Anyway, copyright is an international issue. It doesn't identify to a particular place or or any institution. You have to seek the permission from the institution or from the author. Suppose my article is published in one journal. Again, if I myself want to use the material, then I have to seek the permission from the editor. I don't have any right because I've given my right to the other. So vesting the right is very important thing, and especially it is more important when you are working in a digital platform. And it's a very big area, DRM, digital rights management. So many techniques are there, so many technological issues are there, which you have to be aware of it. The DRM techniques are there. Okay, but some materials are there which are openly available. You can freely download and you can make use of it, provided those materials are available for your requirement. If it is not required, then don't download all those materials. It will be chaos. It will be, I mean to say, some massive of information will be there and you cannot control all the information in your system. So whenever you are downloading it, again I'm telling you, you can organize it in a subject way. For example, DRM, all the course materials should be available in DRM folder, so that it will be easier for you to organize and make use of it when you require it. So somebody is Mahakur, what is electronic, virtual, hybrid and digital library? Just I told you that digital library is synonymously represented as electronic library, virtual library, hybrid library, but let me stick to the hybrid library. In hybrid library, you are managing the resources in two ways. You are taking the traditional part and also a portion in the digital part, digital way. Half of your organization is being controlled by through an automation process, and half of your organization is controlled traditionally. Main persons are there. For example, collection. Whenever you are getting the books for your library, you are taking a traditional way of approach, traditional approach. Whenever you are purchasing any materials for your library, you are taking the traditional approach. But when the question of service comes, you are taking the help of the technology, you are taking the help of the computer, you are converting or you are downloading the resources in your library and you are passing it to the user community. So both these systems used to prevail in one platform. The same library is providing the traditional services. For example, +2 student will come to you, +3 student will come to you, PG student will come to you. Then part you are providing the traditional book, part you are providing the electronic services. So when you are operating both the systems, it is known as hybrid library. And the electronic library means some of the resources are available in CD form. For example, nowadays, many of the publishers, they are supplying the books, the print material, and also one CD. Means entire book is now available in CD form. So this compact disc, it will be inserted to the computer, and if you are having the LAN connectivity and connected to multiple nodes, then multiple user can access that resource. that resource. So the CD is there. In your book, the CD will be there. Those who are interested for the book is there. When somebody is interested for the electronic version, it is also available there. So many of the resources are now being available in CD form. Now, again, CD is going to be available in the hard disks. The server, their dedicated servers are there where you are loading each and every electronic materials, electronic resources. And that server will be allocated to the user inside the library. When you are going to a big library, the server will not be directly controlled by you. It will be controlled by the administrator. You will be allowed to access the resources only and nothing more than that. You cannot touch the administrative part because that is a restricted entry. That is a restricted access. You can make use of the resources which will be provided to you. That is a control mechanism applied to the server. So in that way, the electronic the electronic materials are there and also the digital resources are there. So how you are going to organize those things? So that is the thing. So interchangeably, you can tell that electronic library, but electronic library has got some limitation. Means sometimes you will be providing the services, traditionally, sometimes you will be providing electronically. So therefore, you should not be confused. If you are talking about the digital library, means digital library is 100% automated library system, it will work. Or else you can say that we are giving electronic services. Means again you are coming back to the same hybrid system. Part of the system, part of the services will be electronic through the electronic means, part of the system will be through the traditional means. So this thing, though interchangeably, the digital library can say that you should have an access throughout the year without any constraint, without any time, 24/7 access. So this digital library also can be coined as network-based library services, means digital library. Then 24/7 library means digital library. But when you talk about the electronic library, again both the system will prevail. Some portions will be controlled electronically and some portion will be controlled traditionally, means the hybrid system. Okay. So virtual library means you have to work on the network based. You don't have to see anybody's face. It is the library through which you can directly get access to the resources. DRM and access control in digital library. So in my next class, I will tell you more about the DRM. The control mechanism will be vested with the library person, with the librarian only, with the administrator, whosoever will be the authority, the control mechanism will be vested with him only. And nobody can change it. Only the administrator can change it. And that is all the time password protected. The user definitely cannot access to that thing. Not even any staff of the library, excepting the administrator. You should know it. The control mechanism will be there so that the resources should not be used in a different way. There should not be any chance of alternating the information or the resources or withdrawing the resources. Only the administrator has the power, but he should be very much sound enough in technology. Okay? Any other question? Suna babu ଆଉ କିଛି ଅଛି? Hello?
sir ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଆମେ ଏଇଠି ରଖିବା ଆଉ
Okay.
ଆମେ next class
ଆପଣ ମତେ ମେଲ ଆଇଡି ଇଏ କରିଦେବେ
କରିକି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ବି
मेल मत जणे देबे हला
ହଁ
यू प्लीज मेल रे जणे देबे
ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ବହୁତ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଆପଣ ଆଜି
ओके थैंक यू ईच एंड एवरीबॉडी फॉर गिविंग ए पेशेंस हियरिंग ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच